Hey everyone, before we dive in, here's something really cool. You're listening to an episode created almost entirely by AI. From the script to the voice, this is part of the AI Takeover series by Blockchain DXB, where we explore what's possible when humans hand over the mic to machines. There's little to no human involvement, and that's what makes this episode so powerful. Welcome to the future of content creation. Let's get into it. This episode is powered by MENA, the region's first and fastest growing regulated all-in-one trading and investing app. Whether you're looking to invest in US stocks like Apple or Tesla, or MENA giants like Readiness or Salik, MENA puts the financial market at your fingertips. You also get access to gold, foreign exchange, ETFs, futures, and commodities. With over 375 assets to choose from, they've got the largest crypto selection in the region. And listen, guys, if you want to build long-term wealth without thinking about it every day and want to automate your investing, just set your monthly budget, choose your preferred categories, and let MENA do the rest. No fees, no lockups, and 100% customizable. Even better, funding your account is frictionless, and funding your account is easier than ever. You can fund your account with Apple Pay, Google Pay, credit cards, instant bank deposits, and even your crypto wallet. No friction, no hassle. And if you get stuck, MENA offers 24/6 real human customer support and personalized sales assistance. Because you're part of the Blockchain DXB community, you get an exclusive offer. Register with the code BlockchainDXB and make at least one trade to receive a $100 trading bonus credited to your account the following month. So what are you waiting for? Download the MENA app now. The link and code are in the show notes. Next up, Blockchain DXB is proud to be the official media partner for one of the biggest blockchain events of the year, the Blockchain Futurist Conference. For the first time ever, North America's leading crypto event is heading to the United States, taking place at the iconic Guitar Hotel at Hard Rock in Hollywood, Florida. Alongside it is ETH Women, happening simultaneously. Expect multi-stage panels, NFT galleries, DeFi showcases, tech demos, metaverse experiences, and more, all under one roof. It's where the smartest minds in blockchain, crypto, and AI will converge. Get 25% off tickets by using the code DXB25. And yes, I'll be there with exclusive live coverage, behind-the-scenes interviews, and spotlight features on groundbreaking projects. Mark your calendars, November 5th and 6th, 2025. Visit futuristconference.com and use code DXB25. Link is in the show notes. Next up, Blockchain DXB has two more interesting partnership news to announce. First up, with Future Blockchain Summit and Fintech Surge 2025. Blockchain DXB is an official media partner of Future Blockchain Summit and Fintech Surge 2025. Future Blockchain Summit is one of the biggest and oldest blockchain summit taking place in Dubai, going back to almost a decade, 2017 to be precise. The event takes place between October 12th to 15th at Dubai Harbour. This is where blockchain meets fintech to redefine the future of finance. 250 plus world-class speakers, 1,200 plus investors, live demos, product launches, and the exclusive invite-only GITEX Digital Assets Forum, all under one roof. From Web3 pioneers to fintech leaders shaping payments, banking, insurtech, AI, and DeFi, this event brings the entire ecosystem together. Startups, this is your launchpad. Get in front of top VCs, accelerators, and industry leaders. For blockchain and fintech companies, this is where connections turn into partnerships and dreams turn into exits. Register today at futureblockchainsummit.com. Don't just watch the future unfold, own your space in it. Remember, Future Blockchain Summit and Fintech Surge 2025. The registration link is in the show notes below, and see you at Dubai Harbour. Second partnership news kicking off from today is with the leading Bitcoin event organizers on this planet. And this year, Bitcoin Asia is taking things to another level. Bitcoin Asia are hosting a massive gathering this August in Hong Kong, and Blockchain DXB is proud to be an official media partner of Bitcoin Asia 2025. Taking place this August in Hong Kong, Bitcoin Asia is the region's premier Bitcoin gathering, where builders, investors, and innovators meet. It's really an honor for Blockchain DXB to be associated with Bitcoin Asia. Now at this event, expect powerful keynotes, bold conversations, and a headlining session with none other than Eric Trump. He will be sharing his vision for Bitcoin's long-term potential, its role in global finance, and Asia's massive impact on adoption, and a lot more. So listen up, guys. From infrastructure to regulation, privacy tools to lightning development, Bitcoin Asia connects global Bitcoin communities and drives innovation across cultures and markets. And as part of this partnership, you can register for the Bitcoin Asia using the code DXB. All the details are in the show notes below. If Bitcoin's in your blood, this is your event. So, register today at asia.btc and don't forget to use code DXB for 10% off your tickets. Bitcoin Asia 2025, Hong Kong is calling. Be part of the future of Bitcoin. Next up, Advanced Media is the largest distributor of professional video, photography, cinema, and broadcast accessories in the Middle East. They represent over 100 major brands, including DJI, Hasselblad, Red, and Rode. The mic I'm using to record this? Sponsored by Advanced Media. But what really sets them apart is their commitment to purpose. People, planet, and prosperity. That's not just branding, it's their actual business model. They've partnered with SAE Institute in Dubai to offer scholarships to students pursuing a bachelor's degree in filmmaking, each worth AED 50,000. They also run regular workshops, training programs, and tech showcases across the region. For more info, visit amt.t, that's amt.tv. Finally, let's talk about something every crypto investor should take seriously: security. And that's where Ledger comes in. Ledger is one of the most trusted names in crypto security. Their hardware wallets, like the Nano S Plus and Nano X, keep your assets safe by storing your private keys offline. That means you're protected against hacks, malware, and phishing attempts that can compromise online wallets. The company is headquartered in Paris and is constantly innovating. Their team works with world-class security researchers and regularly tests their own products for vulnerabilities. It's why Ledger wallets are used by millions around the world. Using a hardware wallet isn't just smart, it's essential. If you're serious about crypto, it's time to stop relying on centralized exchanges or browser wallets. Click the link in the show notes to order your Ledger wallet and support this podcast at the same time.
Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive. We are jumping straight into one of the most comprehensive barometers of global technological power. I'm talking about the 2025 Government AI Readiness Index, hot off the press from Oxford Insights.
And this deep dive is absolutely essential because, look, this isn't just another update. This represents a real philosophical shift in how we even measure success. For 8 years, the index focused very narrowly on how ready a government was to implement AI, in specific public services.
Right, think chatbots, simple automation, that sort of thing.
Exactly.
But that's changed. Now they're asking a much broader and frankly a much tougher question.
Yes. The new core research question is this: to what extent can a government harness AI to benefit the public? So it moves the whole conversation from just digitizing services to, strategically using AI for genuine national benefit, whether that's economic, educational, or societal.
And that immediately changes the entire data landscape. We're talking about a huge methodological expansion. They're assessing 195 countries, the largest data set the index has ever used, with 69 indicators across 14 dimensions. That sounds less like a report and more like a global census.
It is a staggering amount of information, you're right,
Yeah.
which is exactly why our mission today is to filter that noise for you. We want to surface the actionable knowledge. We are looking at who's leading, of course, but more importantly, how they're doing it. And we'll do that by looking at the 6 core pillars of readiness that drive these public benefits.
And just so you have them, those 6 pillars are policy capacity, governance, AI infrastructure, public sector adoption, development and diffusion, and finally, resilience. Everything that defines a country's success or, failure in the AI era is measured within that framework. Let's jump straight into the defining geopolitical finding of this entire report, because it really sets the stage for everything else we're going to discuss. The global AI leadership picture is not diffuse. It is increasingly bipolar, centered squarely on the United States and China.
That rivalry is the gravitational center of the entire index. The U.S. is ranked first globally, and that's absolutely secured by its enormous, mature private sector, its top-tier research institutions, and just the sheer scale of its compute infrastructure.
But the more dramatic story here is China, which shows the most significant upward movement. It's rocketed to 6th globally, up from 23rd in the 2024 index. I mean, that's an almost unprecedented single-year jump.
It is impressive, but here's a critical nuance. The index authors themselves believe this rank might actually understate China's true capabilities. They point out that measuring China presents some methodological challenges. Its domestic tech ecosystem operates largely independently of Western platforms, and there's often limited transparency.
So the data we do have is like looking through a keyhole, but even that view suggests massive sovereign strength. What are the key indicators that show this?
Well, the hard numbers are stunning. In 2024 alone, China's AI research output matched the combined publications of the US, the UK, and the entire European Union. And critically, this research output is highly distributed. We're not talking about one or two centralized universities here.
No.
We see 156 separate Chinese institutions, each producing over 50 AI papers.
That model, widely distributed, state-backed, and coordinated, that must make it incredibly challenging for Western nations to track or, frankly, contain, especially compared to the more centralized research clusters we see in places like the U.S.
Exactly. It makes tracking capabilities extremely difficult, and it's all backed up by tangible infrastructure. China is systematically building a comprehensive, sovereign AI technology stack.
Okay, let's define what that means, because this is where the money is. We're talking about literal hardware independence.
We are. They are investing heavily in domestic alternatives to Western chips. Specifically, you've got Huawei's Ascend chip ecosystem and manufacturing advances by SMIC. That's China's largest chip manufacturer. The goal here is to reduce reliance on foreign semiconductors entirely. And this entire push is backed by just staggering state investment. Over 140 billion US dollars funneled through the National Integrated Circuit Industry Investment Fund.
Wow. That kind of state commitment, backed by that much capital, it fundamentally changes the calculus for everyone else, right? When you have two global powers that can build, train, and run their own entire digital universe, it introduces this concept the index highlights, this model maker versus model taker divide.
This is the expectant future distinction. Model makers are the few nations, the US and China primarily, with the immense resources, talent, and compute to build cutting-edge foundational AI models. Everyone else becomes a model taker, who then has to manage the societal, economic, and security impacts of technology they didn't create.
And that reality is driving this growing clamor for AI sovereignty globally, isn't it? Countries recognize that relying entirely on the tech stack of either Washington or Beijing is a huge national security risk.
It's driving huge policy pushes. Even the U.S. is using its power to promote its own stack. We saw the July 2025 presidential executive order explicitly pushing the export of the American AI technology stack to, secure its global dominance.
So who else is making a serious push for this kind of sovereign independence?
Saudi Arabia's Humane initiative is incredibly ambitious, a full-stack commercial AI ecosystem leveraging its public investment fund. India, too, is using its digital public infrastructure prowess to support its strategic India AI mission.
And then we're seeing these compelling regional efforts that are a direct response to this bipolarity. The development of LATAM GPT, a large language model developed entirely within Latin America. That's a clear sign. And in Europe, the OpenURLM initiative is focused on developing open models across all of the EU's 24 official languages, which is about ensuring cultural and linguistic preservation alongside that technological independence.
And that strategic push you just outlined, moving from high-level geopolitics to actually creating a regional language model, that is the core finding of the index. 2025 was the year governments shifted from just setting strategies to putting them into operational reality.
So we're moving beyond press releases and seeing tangible implementation. What does that actually look like on the ground?
It's specific policy rooted in those pillars we mentioned. Canada, ranked 11th, released its detailed AI strategy for the federal public service. Further afield, you have Nigeria, at 72nd, launching its AI scaling hub to foster local talent. And Uzbekistan's government is actively incentivizing innovation with its President AI Award.
So that's where the rubber meets the road, seeing public sector adoption and development and diffusion actually coming to life. Let's talk about that last pillar, development and diffusion. For you, our listener, how should you understand what that pillar measures?
Development and diffusion, it essentially measures how AI moves out of the academic lab and into the real world. So how mature the AI sector is, and how widely the technology is being used by local businesses, by researchers, and by civil society.
And where is the power concentrated there?
North America really excels in this area. The region leads this pillar globally with a score of 73, which is a considerable 26 points above Western Europe. And this gap is almost entirely fueled by its private AI sector maturity and that unparalleled diffusion of tech throughout the economy.
We're talking about massive investments then. But building that full domestic technology stack, the chips, the data centers, the talent, it's incredibly costly. Are countries finding ways to collaborate and cut down on that expense?
Absolutely. Cross-border approaches are becoming crucial because, well, domestic isolation is just unsustainable. We saw the UK and the US signing the Technology Prosperity Deal, which commits them to joint R&D in areas like drug discovery and energy.
And Europe isn't just relying on policy to compete, they're building massive infrastructure for regional cooperation, right?
Correct. The European High-Performance Computing Joint Undertaking is bearing significant fruit. September 2025 saw the operational launch of Jupiter in Germany. That's Europe's first exascale supercomputer.
Let's take a second to define that. When we say X-scale, what kind of power are we talking about?
Exascale is a massive leap. To put that scale in perspective, it can process more than a billion calculations per second. And Jupiter will be used specifically for advanced open AI models across the continent, focusing on things like medical research, climate modeling, and energy systems. These are tangible, strategic infrastructure projects designed to level the playing field.
Okay, shifting gears a bit to regulatory dynamics. While collaboration on infrastructure is strong, the report indicates that practical global AI regulation remains slow and complex.
It is in flux. The EU AI Act is still the global bellwether, but its components are only gradually coming into force. For example, prohibitions on unacceptable risks, like harmful AI manipulation, that came into effect in February 2025. Rules for the bigger, general-purpose AI models followed in August. The major challenge for the EU now, in 2026, is ensuring all member states drive in a common direction.
And given that complexity, the UN is trying to provide a global platform for alignment.
That's correct. To ensure the rules aren't just being set by the US and the EU, the UN launched two new governance bodies at the 2025 General Assembly, the Global Dialogue on AI Governance and the Independent International Scientific Panel on AI. It's an effort to translate regional learnings into wider global practice and to give a voice to nations often excluded from these discussions.
So let's zoom back out and look at regional performance against the global average score, which is 41.4. North America naturally is leading across all 6 pillars.
They are in a class of their own, scoring 79.75 as a region. And this dominance is secured by the immense private infrastructure investment. You mentioned the Stargate project, a joint venture pledging up to $500 billion in AI infrastructure projects.
$500 billion. That kind of investment leads us directly back to the physical reality of AI. I think we often forget the long tail, the energy and water required to run these huge data centers.
That's a crucial insight that the index weaves in. This isn't just software. These resource demands were a huge topic of discussion at the COP30 climate conference in Brazil. When we discuss compute dominance, we have to simultaneously discuss the immense tangible environmental cost.
Okay, moving down the rankings. Latin America and the Caribbean, they're pursuing regional models like LATAM GPT, but how do they fare in the overall index?
They rank 7th globally, averaging 34.00, which puts them below the global average across all pillars. And crucially, they score lowest globally in that development and diffusion pillar we talked about. This gap isn't just about strategy. It reflects a lack of mature venture capital ecosystems, often paired with brain drain. It makes it harder to get AI out of the lab and into businesses.
But strategically, they are moving.
Absolutely. Brazil, ranked 22nd, is pioneering regional governance. It's launching the region's first AI sandbox. It creates a controlled regulatory environment for new applications to be tested safely.
And East Asia, we know China is the engine, but what about the overall region?
East Asia, ranked 4th with 49.14, is strong. They perform remarkably well in development and diffusion, ranking 3rd globally. And this is supported by legislation like South Korea's Basic AI Act, which comes into force in January 2026. This makes it only the 2nd comprehensive national AI law globally.
And finally, Sub-Saharan Africa. What are their leading countries and key gaps?
The region ranks 9th overall, scoring 28.04. Kenya at 65th and South Africa at 67th are the regional leaders. The predictable key gaps are in AI infrastructure and public sector adoption. However, the commitments are strong and specific. Rwanda established an AI scaling hub with the Gates Foundation, and Ethiopia has set aside 1.13 billion birr for direct AI investment. All of this data really confirms the index's final reflection. Despite all the noise and the massive private sector valuations, governments remain absolutely essential. They are the ultimate catalyst in the AI era.
Right. I think we sometimes get so focused on the billion-dollar rounds and the seven-figure signing bonuses that we forget something. The government is the foundational investor and the rule setter that allows those businesses to even exist.
They are crucial players, especially in accelerating readiness. They foster domestic ecosystems, whether that's China launching its K-Visa to attract global tech talent, or India committing nearly $1.3 billion in direct federal investment for AI infrastructure. These are nation-building efforts that the private sector simply cannot initiate alone.
So, if we synthesize everything we've learned for you, our listener, what are the three most crucial human-centered takeaways from the 2025 index? The so what?
First, AI success is not an overnight development. The countries ranking highly, whether it's the U.S. or fast climbers like China, they achieve that status through sustained strategic effort, often spanning decades of research investment. This is a long game. It requires generational commitment.
The long game of building resilient foundations. I like that. What's number two?
Second, the focus must be centered around people, not just technology for technology's sake. If AI explorations only prioritize technological might and compute power, the index warns there is a serious risk of increasing digital and AI divides. Governments have to ensure their efforts demonstrably improve people's lives.
And finally, that critical reminder that AI is not artificial, which we touched on with the energy costs.
Yes. And beyond the data center consumption we discussed at COP30, there are significant social costs being quantified now. The index highlights rising concerns that the quick functionality from new AI tools is dissuading firms from hiring junior and graduate talent, for roles that are being automated. And that automation risk creates a long-term talent gap if we don't adjust.
It sounds like, regardless of the constant chatter about whether a global AI bubble is looming, a frequent discussion in 2025, governments aren't sitting still. They are showing real agility, from Egypt rapidly updating its strategies to Brazil launching regulatory sandboxes. They are defining their direction right now.
Absolutely. The overall findings confirm it. AI readiness is characterized by a bipolar global dynamic, loud sovereignty ambitions, and quiet strategic policy action across all regions, from North America's sheer compute power to emerging talent hubs in Central Asia and Africa.
And this brings us to our final thought for you to chew on as you move forward with this information. We know AI success demands sustained direction, investment, and attention to that long-tail physical infrastructure, the chips, the water, the power. So given the high concentration of AI infrastructure in only a handful of nations like the US and China, will the urgent regional drives for AI sovereignty like LATAM GPT or the EU's Open Euro LM ultimately hit a wall when faced with the immense long-term resource and compute costs? Or can agile governance and smart policy overcome these massive physical barriers? Think about that tension between policy ambition and hardware reality.